Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from the big island of Hawaii. Back in the fairy cabin again with my friend Leia here. Hooray! So let's have some Wisdom Dialogues. Oh, I know. How about that Me Too thing? That is so fun. That is so fun. I love that. It's so one thing that's really awesome about it is that it exposes what was like a secretive thing before, like a hush hush secret. Don't tell anyone. It'll look bad on you. Yeah. And the thing is, it's not going to actually stop that from happening. It's not going to stop the illusion of victims and violators. See? Because as soon as a victim or a violator is identified, it's like an attack on who you are. And it sends out an energy vibration to make more apparent illusions of these kinds of situations, whatever it happens to be. Rape, sexual harassment, all those kinds of things. It's like they cannot happen without a belief that says that's possible in the first place. It says that's even possible to happen. So, people ask, well, what do you do if you find yourself as the victim? As the victim, someone who has a perception that they were violated, And really, in that situation, it's like, do we want to keep on perpetuating these illusions? Do we want to keep them going and going and going? Or use this experience of feeling violated, of feeling victimized, to see through it, to see what's really true. It's kind of like being in an energy of, this is all false. It's able to look upon this devastation. Oh my goodness, my body's been violated. That's the thought. It can't be true. It can't really be true. It must be a misperception. So it's kind of like, show me what's really making that. What's the cause of this happening? Kind of like an energy like that, And it's just an openness to see through. It's not to project any guilt. It's not to go, oh, I must have been doing it wrong. No, it's a gift, because even if it happens to be something like rape, we have asked for that from an energetic mind. See? We've asked for that. We've asked to be shown the consequences of what we take to be true. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose of an experience. That's the whole purpose of having a life experience, to return the consciousness to wholeness. Okay? And ultimately, there's even consciousness is finite. It's not eternal. It's not the eternal. Consciousness only arose for us, and everything's happening through consciousness for our use and enjoyment. And where there's gratitude, there's going to be enjoyment. In my own experience, I've had incidences where people have, done the kind of sexual harassment thing, in my experience. And whenever it came in a setting, like when I was an adult, as in a work setting or something like that, I would just think it was kind of silly. It's kind of silly. Like, I had one guy reach over, he's my boss, and he just reaches over and starts unbuttoning my shirt, and I'm just kind of like, no. But that's it. But that's only because, there's not an attachment to what I think I want. See? And it could be anything. It'd be I don't I don't want to be perceived as bad. You know, I don't want to be perceived as someone who doesn't grant the wishes of my boss. I don't know. Whatever's going on, there's always some kind of subconscious thing that's drawing us, or unconscious energy pattern that would draw us into an experience where we would perceive ourselves as being violated, even an attempt to violate. See? Also, have an experience with a friend of mine, and you know, him and I had a little dance where I really perceived him as encroaching upon my space. Like every time I would see him, he would touch a little bit too much, you know, a little bit too much. And I just kind of felt like this crowded kind of, almost like taking me back to my childhood when there's a large person like kind of touching me, on, you know, but the person isn't even large, but just feeling all tight like this. And at one point I was with him and I just kept on noticing, this is my perception. This is my perception. I love you. This is my perception. I love you. At the time we were making eye contact and we weren't speaking, but that's what I was feeling, such this confinement, like, oh my goodness, this guy is so whatever. We weren't speaking, but making eye contact, and just kept on feeling the sensation of it, feeling the sensation of that confinement, that, oh my goodness, this guy is totally taking advantage of me, touching me the way I don't want to be touched and stuff like that. Just maintain eye contact, and that energy just dissolved. It was like, this is my perception. I love you. And over again, that's what it was saying in my mind. And that's how we were connecting. And that whole thing diffused. We still have a connection. You know, we still see each other from time to time, sometimes more often and sometimes less often. But that kind of energy is just not there. It's just not even present. And, you know, in reality, it never happened. In reality, that never happened. That's why I don't hold that stuff against people either. Because in reality, nothing happened. You know, if I hold something like, this guy is such and such, you know. I had one friend of mine, and I was walking up and was going to some ecstatic dance, and he's like, hi, and he comes up and gives me a hug, and then the hug tries to turn into something else. And I happen to be on silent day. It's the funniest thing. I happen to be on silent day. The hug tries to turn into something else, and I push him back once. He comes back in. I push him back again. He comes back in. I push him back one more time. I look him in the eyes and I go like this. I'm on silent day, by the way. I'm not saying anything. And then he gets it. And then he goes away. And then we continue with a lovely relationship where there's none of that energy. It's just not even there. You know, it's not a deal. And it doesn't make that person anything in my eyes. Like, they're still my friend. It's just like, people just have blunders like that. People have blunders. It's like they don't, they're so focused on what they're after, that they don't perceive that there's kind of like a no thank you in there. See? And I don't fault them for that. Not at all. For one, it's my perception. Who can I fault except myself? That would be ridiculous. Unmute Lori. Aloha, Lori.
Hi there. I get that so completely. I was here with my ex-daughter-in-law. I don't know. Anyway, my granddaughter's mom. She was here today, and anyway, she was talking big time. She's so much drama in her life. It's crazy, the stuff that she was spewing out. And oh my gosh, and I was just trying to get my little things in there, because I see how she's perpetuating and holding on to, and I see that as blunders. I don't, like, she's done in the past all kinds of stuff towards me, call me names or say horrible things, but I don't hold on. And she's done things to my granddaughter. I don't hold her as the doer, because I'd have to hold myself as the doer. If, you know, So when you said tonight that nothing really happened, that's whoops. Where'd you go? Oh, you went black. You went black again.
Oh my goodness.
Every time you go black, I think of that thing when you said. Okay, so when
the one that says, "See, you can't go black and then come back."
I'll never forget that. I hear it in my. So when we say nothing ever happened, I never understood that till last week when we talked. Phoebe and I talked about it, and I've listened to different speakers, and I never got it till this morning on the second run through of last week's yours and my talk.
Oh my goodness!
Wrote it down. I realized that nothing ever happened because it's now. Once the now recognized, it's gone. It's living in thought. It's not. It's never happened.
Yeah, it never happened.
Oh my God, that was huge realization. I mean, it was like bing, 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 bing. Finally. Yeah. So what you were saying last week about you don't know something till you know it's whatever the hell you said last week.
You don't know what you need to know till you know it. It's an access consciousness phrase.
Up so much in I don't even know it just seems to have made such a just the idea of seeing that has made more calm, even more calm happening. I don't know. Anyway, that is just beautiful. And then we were talking about the lady that I take care of, and you said you won't know it until you know it. And I was talking with her daughter, and she was talking about the prognosis or whatever and how Bee's doing, and she still hasn't registered any broken anything, but she's still haven't. A physical therapy person came over and was trying to get her out of bed, and she would not cooperate with him. It was a man along with her daughter, with Sheila, and she wouldn't do it. And all this constriction, I was like, oh, I can't go back to that. And then when she said they think they have somebody that would cover my hours because they understand because I'm not a nurse. I was only hired for a companion. And now the relief that came over me. I said, okay, thank you very much. Decision made inside. I was like, I don't have to do that job anymore.
Yeah, and you're not in charge of any of the decisions, even if it seems like the decision would come through you.
Nope, it literally came out of my mouth. Just came right out. With no guilt, no contraction. Just okay. Yep, I'm gonna. This is what's gonna happen now. I'm not gonna do it anymore.
Can you hear the cows in the background?
No, and I don't even hear the chickens. Usually in the last one, the chickens are.
Oh, wow, we can hear them.
You have cows?
No, we don't, but there's cows. Do you hear that?
Oh, is that a cow? No,
it's a lot of cows. It's a herd.
What are they, outside your window or something?
Yeah, they're out. They're back there. They're back there in the property behind us. They're moving them or something.
Whoa.
That's what they do when they're moving.
Huh. That's just what I wanted to tell you, that last week was really good. I appreciate being able to be on basically uninterrupted for over an hour.
It was good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Very good for me, yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? You good?
I'm wondering if Holly has anything.
Not yet, but I'm sure I'll come up with something.
She'll come up with something.
Okay, cool.
Manifest something.
What are we talking about again? Oh yeah, that kind of sexual harassment thing. So yeah, there's not really victims or villains. That's just in the experience. Oh yeah, I know what it was. So for someone who has received a perception they're accused of the harassment, whether they think they did it or not. Doesn't matter because nothing happens. But, you know, the experience of being accused of something like that is also a huge opportunity for seeing through that whole conundrum. You know, the experience of being accused is usually met with either resistance, you know, defensiveness. I didn't do that. You know, or you know, you were asking for it or whatever. I don't know what they say, but and then the other one was like, oh yeah, I did that. I did that, and they feel really guilty, like they're bad, like something's wrong with them, and now they have to do something about it. Okay. The thing is, nothing has happened. That's to keep an eye on. Just keep an eye on, or an open heart to, so to speak. That nothing actually happened in the first place. So, if you're perceiving that someone is accusing you of something happened, number one, remember that nothing happened and nothing is happening right now. This accusing thing, all it is an interpretation of energy. Experience the experience. Just experience the experience. If you defend yourself, you're just totally, you know, condemning yourself. So no need for that. But, you know, if condemnation, if defense comes out of your mouth, no problem. Same thing, experience that. Just to be experienced. Notice how it condemns you. You come to see how it condemns you to justify yourself or defend yourself. Okay? And this is for being accused of anything, really anything. Eating the last egg, say. You know, anything. It doesn't have to be anything where you like violated it, but, you know, of course, the energy sensations tend to come on stronger with something like that, which, you know, makes it right there in your face. Like you're either gonna keep resisting it and keep it coming back again, or there's gonna be an embrace for it. You know, the choice is kind of up when it's that intense. So yeah, it's not a matter of getting the forgiveness that from the so-called victim or anything like that. I mean, the only kind of forgiveness you can get if you start from the premise that you did something is false forgiveness. It's more of a pardon. It's more like, okay, you did that, and us being the bigger person, we forgive you for it, you know. And that's not going to work. That's not going to work to heal the unconscious patterns that project for it in the first place. That's only going to multiply them even more, because it says someone is capable of harming another person. And as long as we live as if someone is capable of harming another person, we set ourselves up for those kinds of experiences to make it seem like it's really real. Okay? Not only that, but it's a setup for everyone, you know, kids, everyone. Like it can only manifest out of a confused mind. Any kind of sick illusion can only manifest out of a confused mind. Every time we perceive a manifestation of a misperception, such as it seems like someone just violated me or someone I know, or it seems like I just violated someone, you know, it's an opportunity to look through what seems to be some kind of disaster, but it's only on the surface. It's really coming from the mind, and it's being projected to each one subjectively according to their energetic resonance, according to their energetic vibration. Okay? And you know, that's how we exercise dominion over the world. Because of who we are, we can share the truth. Not necessarily by saying it, not necessarily by demonstrating it. See? By not holding something in our energy field that's going to attack people, that's going to make them wrong. Even if it's just saying, you know, you stepped on my toe. You stepped on my toe. That's not possible. That's an illusion. It's kind of like we use the other person to get feeling of pain, physical or otherwise. That's why no one does anything to anyone. So we have a legal system now that's set up that points fault. It establishes fault. Who's at fault? It's pretty funny. It really makes it so that it's deeply ingrained into the mind, into the human psyche, that we can be harmed, that we can be threatened. And you know what? If someone does harm us, we can go to court and get compensation for that. Isn't that fun? Not that there's anything bad about getting compensation or taking someone to court. It's fine. It's part of the game. It's just in noticing what it means. I saw a Lori hand go up.
Yeah. Well, Holly said, well, if somebody steps on your toe, it's gonna.
Yeah. And say if I step on Lori's toe and I injure her toe, oh gosh, my shoe cut your toe. I'm so sorry. So something did happen.
Apparently. That's the thing. There's not really a shoe, and there's not really a toe, and there's not really a Holly and Lori. It's like a show. It's coming out of the subconscious mind. Or your reactions to it are, this is how I say it, your reactions to it are coming out of the subconscious mind. All of the illusions, such as Lori, Holly, and toe, are all coming out of unconsciousness. It's like a program. It's just a program. It just keeps on going. It's just like a program. So it's like that instant, whereas there's the stepping on the toe, Lori's getting exactly what she needs, and Holly is getting exactly what she needs from that point of view in a dream. But in reality, there's no separation between the two. See?
Got it.
You got it? Yay! I love it when people get it. You guys are good. You guys are easy. What?
I said I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that?
This has been a journey of all journeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and it's so worth it, right?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, you reap the benefits. You reap the benefits, and then and then it's like, it's so awesome. I mean, at first you just have faith, and there's all this doubt and stuff, but you start reaping the benefits, and you're like, holy shit, what is this?
My daughter-in-law was here. God, the drama in her life. She's so fed up, but she's not ready to hear her part in it. She's not ready to. No, I slid in some things here and there, but I couldn't. So many things I wanted to say, but I just had to zip it because she's not. It's blame. It's all blame, and he did this to me, and victim big time. Yeah.
Just be with your reactions. That's enough. Being with your reactions is enough.
Right. Yeah.
That's plenty.
It was good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions for me? You have anything you want to talk about, Glenn?
Well, we already talked about it.
Oh yeah, we were having wisdom dialogues by ourselves before we went on.
No.
What?
What was it about?
Well, we were talking about how in relationships, sometimes a person might have a personality where they bust out sometimes and do some crazy shit, like act all wild, maybe get angry, maybe just be sort of like loud and obnoxious, what you're considering obnoxious, maybe in a public place or something like that, and just talking about how, we all project that. We project whatever we need. So it's kind of like, why do I need this? And it's stay in any question that feels good, any question that feels meaningful to you, but kind of like, why do I need something like this? And you can kind of see where you fit in. You start to see where some barriers within can be broken down and more self-acceptance can be experienced. More self-acceptance can be allowed. And in that allowing of the self-acceptance, you come to the point where you don't need that anymore. You come to the point where you actually don't need that. So it's sort of like an open door to the person that you're relating it with, you know, a romantic partner, person you're relating with. It's kind of like an open door to drop whatever it is that makes them act out like that. Or else what happens is the mind energy stops attracting, because it's kind of like to attract a partner or a friend, or even to go, you know, in proximity to any body like that, like even to go to past the checkout tent. Mind energy has to attract, you know, to bring that experience together. And it's always for the same purpose, you know, it's always for the same purpose of healing the perception. So since nothing happens and there's no past, there's nothing to hold on to. Like when one of these little outbursts arises, it's just experiencing that, and then it's gone. You know, there's no need to try to hold on to it. And the more there's acceptance of it, the interesting thing, the more there's acceptance of ourselves, because there's not a person acting out over there. We're just using a person to get that emotion, to get that feeling inside of us, so that we can see something. See, so we can't
without that so-called, without that apparent person, there's no way to heal the mind.
Exactly, because it needs to be worked out. Yeah. So consciousness is playing out these concepts through these bodies. So the bodies are coming together for a purpose. And we really don't have a choice in that. We don't have a choice when we're with someone, when we leave them, anything like that. You know, the only choice is to experience it from the position of what's real, or from the position of as an illusion. You know, as if we have a choice who we're going to be sharing bread with or sharing our bed with. You know, we don't. We really don't. That's consciousness playing out. And if there's that inner motivation to see what the cause of everything is, then there's just a willingness to feel whatever it is, experience the experience, ride the ride, and the other person can sense the acceptance. They can sense your self-acceptance, because they're not separate. You know, it's all the same mind. It's shared. So it's like whoever you're in relationship with can sense your self-acceptance, and that's like a huge opportunity. Yes,
because if you, of course, they feel the self-acceptance, because there's no more fights. There's no more angst, no more negative energy for anything that's happening. The usual patterns of bringing out, oh my God, awesome.
Yeah, it lets people, it kind of like gives people the permission to live their creativity. You know, it's like to live from their spirit, because whatever they're doing, it's kind of like, it's okay. You know,
okay, not wrong. Yeah,
because they expect, like, especially someone who acts out, like say they act out in anger, and then their experience is whenever they do that, it's so someone gets upset by it, so then they go and apologize for it and stuff like that. And when it changed to, it's okay.
This is exactly
what outburst. That's
my
gone.
My girlfriend Nicole, she flips out at me so easily, especially if I've hit something that she doesn't want to look at yet. And she's so in awe. She's always saying, "Thank you for being in my life." She goes, "I've never had anybody. It doesn't even matter what I say or do. You're always there." And I don't. There's nothing held. She said she's never had that experience in her life, and she really rips into me sometimes. And it's just right through. It's not. It's just, I know it's not her. It's clear. Right. When she's in the stage, she's the one suffering, not me.
It's just kind of cute, it's like you don't need to have any need for resisting anything.
Right, exactly. It's that. Oh, it feels so good.
Yeah, I experienced the same thing with my son, when he would have an outburst and then kind of like look at me to see what my reaction is, because he was used to my reaction being a big reaction. you know, and then once you start you get no reaction, that stuff calms down.
Yes, it calms down because they're not beating themselves up for doing whatever happened. They're not having that voice saying, I shouldn't have done this because I've hurt my mom, or that is able to go away.
It's like you can't hurt me, you can't do anything to harm me. And you know, at one point he came up to me and he apologized for something that he thought he did earlier that day. And I go, it's okay. You can't really do anything. There's nothing to ever about. And he's like, are you sure? And I go, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm 100% sure on that one. And you know, people think if you tell someone like that, it's like you're giving them a license to be an asshole to you and to do a bunch of mean stuff to you. But what I've experienced is the total opposite.
Me too.
Yeah. It does not equal.
And it calms down.
Yeah. It's like it gives them permission to love me more.
Yeah. You know? Without fear of rejection.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there, without fear of rejection. And that's huge because that human mind hates to be rejected.
Exactly. And you know, when it comes to a romantic relationship, you know, whether or not you stay with the person isn't relevant to whether they're accepted by you or not, because it's only self-acceptance we're talking about. Right. So it only comes up in the moment where there's a reaction, a resistance. It doesn't mean you have to keep on staying with that same energy and there's no choice in it. But you know, sometimes people engage thoughts that say, make a conclusion. Like they're like, okay, well, because of this, this, and this, and this, I can't leave. I have to stay with him. And a lot of the times that will be subconscious. Like it's kind of know it's there, but not really, you know. So that's just something to be aware of, to see what these, you know, what these thoughts are actually doing. You know, it's kind of like a confining situation. Whenever there's a conclusion, whenever there's comes to a sentence with a period, you know, and a lot of the times that's just habitually believed. But when we come to see it, we come to realize what it is. It can't run the show anymore. Because it's like, whether you stay with the person or not, if you think that you need them for some reason, then that sets the whole thing up for discomfort, you know, for conflict. So it's not a matter of whether you stay with a person or not, but just to notice that whatever interaction you're having right now is what it needs to be, and it doesn't need to go on any longer. It doesn't need to project out in the future. It's just this instant, you know, and that's the way I experience my whole marriage, that it's just this instant. I'm not trying to get to the next moment of how it's going to go. So if my husband has an incident where it seems like he's blaming me or something like that, it's easy to experience that blame because I've seen what the result is. The blame, I cannot get him to blame me without my authority. I can't get that perception without my authority. There's Leia.
Had to go pee.
No, she's back. She's relieved.
You can't get him to blame you without you already projecting or having those thoughts of blame, of guilt.
Yeah, without blaming myself, without feeling guilty. Exactly. It's like I cannot. He's not going to do that without me authorizing that.
Right.
There's no way there's no way he can do that without me authorizing it. Everyone that I come into contact with is basically Christ. See? It's not like they can do anything to me. I can paint a picture like they did something to me. Yeah. So it's like you can be gentle. You're gentle with yourself. You be gentle with the situation, and you know, you come to see through. You just see through all of those kinds of things. You see through to the innocence of it, and it just doesn't become some sort of defensive thing. You know, it wants to. That's the way the energy wants to go. You know, I didn't want you to use that like that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I won't touch it again. No problem. It's like it breaks everything down to the simplest component. No justification, no defensiveness, no, nothing. It's like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. You don't have to. It saves a lot of energy. Really saves a lot of energy.
Definitely.
And it's funny because I space out when I'm in the kitchen big time. As I experience myself spacing out, I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking stuff, and I'll start having a conversation, usually with my husband or something, and things will be all out of order cooking. Maybe I'll burn something, stuff like that. And it's funny because some years ago there was a huge opening for us when it came to that, because I felt really condemned for being spacey, for spacing out and burning shit in the kitchen. Yeah. And the way the interaction was, man, it seemed like he was just like, gosh, you must be just so harebrained, or the way he was looking at me, and the picture of it was just felt like it was so condemning, like I was so wrong, and then in that instant, just noticing what it is, that's that sensation. It's a familiar sensation that arises, that I'm guilty, I've done something wrong, and then I just go, oh, it's okay, honey, I could just do it again, see? And then I just went and gave him a kiss, and the whole energy shifted. It was just playful again. He wasn't really holding anything for me at all. It was just that I was painting a picture, and it looks really real. It looks like it's him, but it's not. See, he could just shift right back to himself when it's just allowed, like, because it's not. If it seems like it's him blaming me, then there's a wall.
Right.
Yeah. Then there's a wall, because he's been blaming me. There might be a cold shoulder coming up.
Or vice versa, right? Or if you're blaming him.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's all self-blame. It's all self-judgment. Yeah. So yeah, the same thing. I mean, for me, it's like, whatever, if I think my husband did anything to me, that's up to me to go through that suffering. Number one, go through that suffering of believing, that comes with believing that someone can do something to you, and it's intense. It can be very intense, especially before it's all, it's seen through. It gets to be easier and easier as it comes up. But, it can be very intense to hold to the truth when the illusions look so real. It looks so much like he's doing that. And the worst part is he might do it again.
The worst.
Yeah, what about that? What
about be it a one? I think of Albert Einstein saying.
Go ahead.
Well, I did.
Lori, go ahead.
I said I was talking about Albert Einstein. He's talking about, albeit a persistent one. It looks real, but it's an illusion. Albeit a persistent one.
Yeah, and he's considered a smart talker.
Yeah, exactly. When you quote, when people actually,
it's not like me saying it. So yeah, it like disappears. Like all the monsters can turn into angels. See?
Yeah.
All the monsters can turn into angels because we have full dominion. I've experienced that so many times. So many times. I was raised a Christian missionary, so I was always conditioned to have faith in God and to have faith in Jesus, And when I was in an experience where I was having an experience of perception of gang rape about her. Like,
Okay, wait.
I think it was
Wait,
3 or
stop.
4 or 5. I don't even remember how many of them. You know.
Okay, wait. Oh, stop. Your internet was so bad there, we could not put it together. Can you start that again? Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop my webcam because that's what it's telling me to do because of the internet reception.
Okay, so yeah. Okay,
so that might be better.
Because your voice is just cutting out big time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that happens. All right.
Okay.
So, what were we talking about?
Gang rape.
Oh, right. How could I forget?
Get that out of that.
Gang rape. Okay.
What?
So I'm having an experience at like 14 years old, right? Having an experience in San Francisco where there's 3 or 4 or 5 guys, I'm not sure how many, but they're kind of descending on me. You know, it seems like a gang rape is imminent. And
really?
yeah, and you know, I said I was conditioned really, really well as a Christian missionary to have faith in Jesus and have faith in God, you know. So when a big fear came up, and that nothing can harm me, that's another thing. I was conditioned like that as a kid, but nothing can harm me. So so I'm 14, and these guys are descending, and I feel this fear, and I remember that nothing can harm me. You know, it's kind of like a dream. I remember that nothing can harm me. And suddenly I just start speaking, and I start speaking and asking the guys, you know, without fear, hey, you know, just start witnessing, because that's what I always did, and just start witnessing. Hey, do you guys know about Jesus and stuff? And just start talking to him and start witnessing. And I see the light go on in their eyes. They just change, you know. And it's not, and you know, it doesn't have anything to do with any kind of religious thing or anything like that. It's just kind of like the way I'm relating is not like a rape victim. See?
Yeah.
The way even at 14 years old, the way I'm relating with them is not like a rape victim.
No, and connection instead of fear.
Exactly. And see, the thing is, I went there with an older friend of mine. I lived about an hour away, and we took a bus. I went there with an older friend of mine. And not unbeknownst to me, she would actually have sex with those dudes, like in the bathroom and stuff, and just do stuff with them. So they were kind of expecting the same thing from me. You know, she was gone. She was off with one of them somewhere. So I see the transformation, witness the transformation in their eyes, and they get really interested in what I'm sharing, and they start asking me a lot of questions. And then, you know, even beyond that, they drive us home. That's an hour away. They drive us home. And she was tripping out. She was like, I don't know why they drove us home today. They have never done anything like that before, you know. Normally you just take the bus back.
Could I share something with you? My friend Mahali, do you know Mahali?
Yeah, I do.
She was relating a similar story where she was hitchhiking and a guy picked her up and pulled a knife on her and basically told her he was going to rape her and kill her. And she legitimately didn't have any fear that anything could happen to her. And she started to talk with him, and she totally actually turned the whole situation around and became kind of his therapist.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, after a couple hours of talking to him, he was like sobbing in her arms, telling her all about his childhood and his like dysfunctional parents. Didn't kill her, didn't rape her, and then actually started like contacting her on a regular basis for like therapeutic support.
Yeah.
You know, but if she would have approached that situation in fear, she'd probably be dead right now.
Yes, that's how it goes. Yes, because you know, it's like love just it's almost like it chases the fear out. You know, it's like it's kind of like light in a dark. What?
That's love conquers fear. It's so true. That happened to Byron Katie. After Byron Katie woke up, she was in a park, and this guy pulled a gun on her, and all he had to do was pull that trigger, and she started talking to him and saying, oh, you know, about hurting himself in this. You know, she didn't want to do this to himself. And she became his therapist in the moment, and he, and it turned out to be a great experience.
Yeah, and that applies across the board. Even when it comes to something like money, that's also a relationship. So the idea that there's not enough, the idea that ends don't meet and stuff like that, that keeps that same kind of conundrum going on and on, like there's not enough. For myself and my experience, like that'll arise sometimes, especially when I'll see like, we just bought like a lot of essential oils really fast, and it's like all of a sudden I'm like, wow, how's that going to happen? And recognizing that is not relevant. That's not for me to work out. That's actually not for me to work out. I might find myself at my computer. I might find myself at my computer and planning the money in like that. But even that is the action of consciousness. I'm not responsible for that. The only thing that comes under my responsibility is my perception. See?
Right.
It's like whatever I'm reacting to that.
Well, that lack of money is projected in the future. It's not now, is what I've noticed. Right. I just bought myself a brand new MacBook Pro, and I was just going to get a regular MacBook, and the guy was talking to me, and I went with the upgrade. I went with the best. It's a great, and the thoughts were starting to come in as we were driving home, because it's a year with no interest or whatever, which I've done in the past, and it's always gotten paid. But I could see those thoughts trying to come in, saying, "What if you don't get it paid in a year?" Oh, and I was like, I would just watch them. I literally, they didn't take me down. They didn't. It was just noticing, and there was any contraction in the body. Yeah, it didn't even.
You know how every thought or every action has a reaction. So it's like this action of buying a MacBook Pro is going to have all this thought reaction. Yeah. It's just a reaction, though. It doesn't mean anything.
That, and it's, oh God, damn, I can't even tell you how beautiful. Oh, Jesus.
And the thing is, it's like you have a different kind. You end up having a different kind of relationship with your money, and even the stuff that you buy with the money. Because it's more like an appreciation when you're pursuing thoughts about worry. Now I got this MacBook Pro, and now I'm worried about this stuff. It's kind of like it's not appreciating the MacBook Pro.
Right.
And when the MacBook Pro is being appreciated, the MacBook Pro can even show you how it's useful for bringing in money. It's
I actually had that experience buying a MacBook Pro.
Oh yeah?
That I had a whole conversation about it. And then I just kind of accepted I was buying it, and I was so happy about it. And then I got a job using my computer, right, straight away, getting paid money, doing office work.
Well, that's what I want to do. That's the next step.
Yeah, and it's like when there's appreciation, whatever you feel motivated toward, it just manifests so easily. You realize that you never have to make any effort, and any effort that you seem to make is just a mistaken belief. But because it's all done through consciousness. There's no way any individual is doing anything.
Right. Just happening.
But there's as consciousness in this dream relating with thoughts, each of us has the ability to extend gratitude to everything, even if it's a perception of someone violated me, to extending gratitude, because in that extension of gratitude, healing can happen.
Right. And that would be healing, because that's such the idea is that a huge violation. What huge healing from that. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. It really is. And I think I've shared before my experience when I was a teenager, I got all the sexual violations you could have ever dreamed of when I was a kid. So, you know, when I was a kid, like between the ages of like 12 and 15, you know, my stepdad was totally doing stuff, you know, and at one point I told my mom, and it was all over in an instant. But I held something for him for so long, you know, and even, you know, when I was like a teenager, I would actually be up all night feeling heat in my body, wishing harm for him, wishing someone would just like beat his freaking ass. Well, eventually someone does beat his ass, and you know, I kind of feel a little bit better for a minute, but still it's not like that kind of thing is not there until it's recognized that that was for me. There's no person there that's not innocent. And you can kind of see, you know, you start to realize where that whole dance, how that whole energy dance came into play. And then there's really not another person to hold at fault for it. You know, there's really not anyone to hold, you know, as whatever. And, you know, I haven't talked to my stepdad in probably like 23 years or 24 years or something like that. But the last time I visited my mom, she called me and she said, "Yeah, I told your stepdad." She doesn't call him that, but I told your stepdad that you visited, and he said that, and I forgot what it was. He said he asked about me or whatever, and I go, "Oh well, tell him the next time I'm out there, I'd like to visit with him." And and the next time she talked to me, she was like, he was so ecstatic about that.
Nice, because you know, there's that more, he can be himself. He can let go of the guilt he has. If
that's on like that. You know, it's like I see it for what it is. I see that he is like an innocent child. These people who get into these roles where you know, we made them. It's like it's like this, you guys. It's like we made him to be a scapegoat for our own guilt. Look at that child molester over there. We should beat his ass. You know, it's like we made him as he's like the sacrificial lamb, actually, to be a scapegoat for our guilt. Then you know where the word scapegoat came from. You know where this word scapegoat came from. Well, there was this huge commune, and you know, people were much more dense back then, and they had this leader guy who knew a lot more. So the people were feeling really bad about themselves, really guilty and stuff like that. So the guy got a goat, and he did a ceremony where he put all their guilt in the goat, and then let the goat run away. And then that made him feel better for a long time. And that's where scapegoat comes from. But see, it's not really gone because you can't really put it into something else. See?
No.
It makes you feel better temporarily, only to say, you know, to say that person violated me, especially if you're saying that person violated me when I was only a child, and you got a whole story about it and everything like that, you know, and it's like that makes them into a scapegoat for your hidden guilt. See, it's like it's almost like you gave yourself that experience so that you can hide your own guilt somewhere. And you know, I can see very clearly as a kid, you know, as a young child, accumulating guilt. Like, oh, I think I did something wrong. Oh no, you know, and so to make him, it's more painful to recognize the truth in, you know, for the ego than to make him into a monster who harmed me, and I could put my guilt over there.
Right. So your victimhood is masking your own guilt. Oh my God.
Holy. It's tripped. The victim villain thing, it's almost turned around, you know. It's a trip.
Wow.
It's like,
you know,
that's
share a little experience.
Yeah, Leia's gonna share something.
I had a boyfriend last year, and when we were broke up, I actually went into a whole victim thing for a moment, which is not kind of unlike me for a while now, but it triggered a victim mentality in me, and I held on to it for about a month, and it was really, really an uncomfortable feeling. And then one day I had a total epiphany And I just saw his complete innocence, his absolute innocence, and that he hadn't done anything to me, that I had authored the whole experience, and that there was nothing but love, and that it was just a healing experience for both of us. And I immediately dropped. I mean, I didn't have any conversation with him around any of this, like ever since even, but like just in my own self, I completely let go of all of the blame, the judgment, that you did this to me, you know, the bitterness, the anger, whatever it was. And I completely just forgave him 100% because he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, and there was nothing but innocence there. And I was innocent too. We were both innocent. And it was like the most liberating experience I've had. Like one of them, it was like a really profound experience where I went from really being congested emotionally and physically, and then all of a sudden it was all completely lifted off of me.
Yes.
And my heart was completely wide open, and I was so joyful, and it completely changed my experience from that moment on. And it was just that recognition that there's nothing that he did to me.
Yeah.
But before that, my mind was pointing out all the reasons why he deserved to be punished, you know,
right.
Or, you know, why I should hate him and I should never talk to him again and I should wish him harm. And it was actually harming me.
That's the only place it can go.
Yeah. And when I forgave him, it's like I was just liberated.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he felt something on his behalf, you know, because I was probably projecting a lot of negative thoughts towards him. Yeah. I never checked in with him to see if that liberated him, but like definitely liberated me.
Yeah. That's all you need.
Yeah, and that was really amazing, and it was profound. It was definitely an experience that was profound.
Yeah. So it's the ego that wants to blame and hold people accountable and get apologies from people. You know,
right. Totally.
Because what?
Even if apologies don't always help, though. If their mind is locked on you've done something wrong to them, there no amount of apology will change that mindset. Wants to hold holds on so tight.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna punish
that mindset does want you to be sorry. You know, as if you did something, and see, and then also the mindset is to protect the innocent, as if everyone isn't innocent. Now, I'm not saying like if you know someone has a tendency to touch little kids or acts like they would, you like have them sleep with your daughter. You know, like, no. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this need to protect the innocent. You know, on the surface of things, consciousness takes care of that. Consciousness takes care of that. Where people are not protected, people are put in danger, is when it's bought into that anyone can do anything to anyone else. When we buy into that, when we believe that people are vulnerable, even little kids are vulnerable, it actually sets them up for an experience like that. Because you know, kids learn from us before they even pop out of a belly. They are learning from our energetic vibrations, and they're already projecting for themselves. See, so it's like they're learning from their environment how it is, and you know that can be very scary. And it's like, you know, I can look and see, even as a really young child, feeling guilty about things and wanting to cover them up. You know, like for one, I can point out really easily that I felt really guilty for when my parents made certain food and I just simply couldn't get it down because I had a gag reflex for it. I was hiding under the couch. You know, I was under the couch and felt so guilty about it because I didn't eat it. You know, and so it's like it just weighs on, you know, it seems trivial, but it weighs on your mind.
Oh, big time, especially when you're a kid. Yeah.
So you need a scapegoat. You need someone to cause harm.
Yeah.
To do something to you so you could project and let it run.
So
with
the
that.
more guilty that we feel, the more we attract like abuse into our lives.
That's right.
Yes.
That's exactly right. The guiltier we feel. And you know, a lot of people, when they hear that, they like to take it as an attack, just because it's a defense to who we are. You know, that attack is Well, would you tell that to blah, 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 or something like that? Would you tell that to a 2-year-old who's being whatever? You know, it's just recognizing the willingness to recognize what it is and heal it from wherever we are, wherever we're experiencing it, wherever we're perceiving devastation, to look through it, you know.
So it was a 2-year-old, let's say.
Yeah.
Could it be that they carry that guilt with them from their last incarnation?
Well, it's always impersonal.
Okay.
It's impersonal. So it's not as if you can attach it like that, you know, because the experiences that are set up for any life, okay, that are all for the learning that was meant to occur, you know, and that can change and change and change and go through different changes and dimensions and stuff like that. But it's not as if, you know, you would go pinpointing it like that. But I would say that as soon as the birth happens, fear is instilled.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that what they call original sin?
Yeah, and on most occasions, the mother is feeling extremely fearful during the birth, which also gets transferred on. So, you know, it's an unconscious thing, and that's why it's not personal. That's why when it comes up for you and you can be conscious of it, it's a huge opportunity. You know, as a baby, you can't really be conscious of it like that. No. It seems like this fear is really real. Luckily, when you're a baby, that passes really fast. You forget real fast, right? So you're not really living in it, but it's conditioning you. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you drop it really fast, but then it comes back again. And, you know, just the experience of emerging into this kind of environment, kind of dense environment, is totally fearful. And yeah, that's what Jesus was talking about when he said born in sin. You know, because it takes a lot of judgment to form a mortal body, a body that can die. Coming into a house of judgment, basically, to look through it and dissolve it. Isn't that for fun? And take as many friends with you along the way. Right?
Yeah, he does love company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as the other person is miserable too.
Yeah, and you know what? It has enough of it. It does. We don't need to give it any more. Misery's got plenty of company.
Yeah. Whew, it sure does. Wow, this was such a good. Oh boy. Boy.
Yeah, I love it too. I thank you. It's so wonderful. Everyone who's on here, Holly, Scott, Yulia, thank you so much. I acknowledge you. I love you. You can also raise your hand. All right, so I'm probably checking out unless anyone has hands for me or anything. Coming back next week though. Woo! Aloha, Yulia.
Aloha.
Aloha.
All right. Yay! If you like really awesome essential oils, miraclebotanicals.com. All right? That's my plug for the day. You want to join live? Facebook /groups/Wisdom Dialogues. Want to watch Wisdom Dialogues episode all the way from when I had short hair to when I have long hair? wisdomdialogues.org. Thank you so much. I love you. Talk with you next week. Aloha. Aloha. Uwi ho.
That was awesome.
Isn't it fun?